Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the YanBar podcast. Brian Barcelo hosts today's episode. The guest today, Richie Love, the saxiest man alive. Hey, Richie, is it
Yes,
fair to
sir.
say that horns make people horny?
That's a good possibility.
But you know what? Don't answer that. We're gonna leave that for a cliffhanger for later on. Hey, check this
Yeah.
out. Tell people about yourself, where you're from, and all that stuff, and what you do.
Well, I was born in Omaha, Nebraska, but soon after we moved to Los Angeles. And so I grew up in Los Angeles, and then we moved back to Omaha. And so I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska as well. So I'm from Los Angeles and Omaha, Nebraska.
That's cool. Hey, check this out. You said Los Angeles. It seems to be like a hot spot for people to get their let's say cut their teeth in showbiz. Was that your intentions when you went to LA and stuff to
When we moved to Los Angeles, I was
uh
1.5,
ah
2 years old. So but it was my father's intention, who was an internationally famous saxophonist. It was his intention to, well, the great Johnny Otis, um, who is the godfather of R&B,
mm-hmm.
discovered Etta James and Big Mama Thornton and so many others. So Johnny Otis and my father were best friends. So Johnny told my father, he said, you need to come to Los Angeles if you want to do something in the music business, get your butt to Los Angeles. And uh, and so he had moved the whole family into his huge mansion in Los Angeles. And that's why we went to Los Angeles.
Incredible. Now check this out. Do you think music would have been, I'll say, you would have been involved in music had you not moved to LA?
That's I think so because my father, he was already very active in music. He got famous from playing with Count Basie, the Count Basie Orchestra, Duke Ellington, Billie Holiday, Lena Horne, Lucky Millinder, Nat Toles, all the black territorial bands
Mhm.
in the 40s. And so he was very much involved in music. They recorded records. He was on King Records. He was on Capitol, I believe it was King, and so he was, they were, and that's where he met Johnny Otis. They met in the Nat Toles and Lloyd Hunter
Mhm.
Orchestra, and so I believe that he was going to stay in my father. That's what he did was music, so that he wasn't going to not be in music. But Los Angeles gave me a whole nother uh, mentality of the business of music and the business.
Mhm.
So it was definitely a great influence, and just to, it's Los Angeles, it's LA, Hollywood.
Mhm. Yeah. Now tell me something. The changes have been going on over the years. Is Los Angeles still Los Angeles? Or you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
It's changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, from when I grew up out there, of course,
Mhm.
but from just me from the 70s, 80s, 90s, it's changed quite a bit. I guess as everywhere has, but yeah, it's changed. It's changed. It's changed. And
Would you say for the better?
well, and not really. some, things, some things I would say maybe, but Los Angeles, it's become, it's quite ridiculous. The rent, one of the things that,
Wow.
so that makes it so hard for people to survive.
Hmm.
If you're in the music business, which uh, you're trying to do music, and you can't unless you're on a certain level, you got to be doing something else. You
Yeah,
can't just
understood.
yeah. And I mean the rent is ridiculous.
Hmm.
It's $2,000 or $3,000 for a studio apartment, that kind of stuff. Houses that sold for 35,000, they're selling for 900,
Mm.
and they're still the same size. You're talking about you're
Yeah,
talking about
exactly.
little small. My mom used to call them cracker box houses.
Hmm. Yeah, they got the same thing going on here in New York too. I
Yeah,
imagine all
oh,
over the place. Yeah. Now,
yeah.
one thing, how is the music scene in Los Angeles? Has that slowed down anything or kept pace or what's going on?
It diminished some,
Mhm.
but it is still it's still going on. It's still that they're trying to fight and come back. I was out there and uh, I was so surprised at the young people that are into the um, like jazz now. They're like,
Oh,
it's like,
really?
oh, what a beautiful thing it was to see that all these young people, they were, and this I went saw these some live bands, and there was really a scene, and in the hood,
Mhm.
uh, we're still doing our thing in the hood too,
That's what's up.
blues and jazz clubs. I mean, it's going on. It ain't
That's
it's
what's up.
not
Yeah.
dead. That's
I
for
know
sure.
around these parts where I'm at here in New York, I don't know, they closed a lot of places, but I see a lot of places opening too. So, it's in and out with them and stuff. Um, how are you making out with this AI stuff? I know you're aware of AI. You seen the music that's producing that caused you any concern?
No, because I mean, maybe it should, and I'm just not aware. But I believe that real music is real music, and people that know real music are going to always. You can't. AI is because like when the progression of music, say like from for a while, like you had the bands,
Mhm.
man, Cameo and Ohio Players, Parliament Funkadelic,
I miss those days.
yeah, me too. And you had the bands, okay, well, the record labels, oh, people don't like bands anymore. They're not buying bands. So they all but killed the bands. But now they're okay, so they all but killed band. So then here comes rap, okay. Then rap the DJs
Hmm.
who sampled all of our music, or the black music.
Right.
They sampled it, and also the DJs would play it. Well, that kind of, in a way, to me was, and then they want to say, well, the DJ's a musician. Well, that's not really a true statement to me. I
Right.
mean, in my own personal opinion, a
Hmm.
DJ is a DJ.
Exactly.
How do you become a musician as a musician? A DJ is a DJ.
Well, that's what I thought. I mean, define musician.
A musician to me is someone who plays a musical instrument.
Right.
A record player is not a musical instrument.
Right.
And I know maybe some people get mad at me, but when I tell the truth, I tell the truth. The truth will set
Hmm.
you free. That's what I believe.
Right.
A music now they are maybe an artist. You could call them an artist, but you can't call a DJ a musician because they're not playing an instrument. A record player is not an instrument.
Right.
When a musician spends his life learning the craft of his instrument. I played, I learned, I still spend my life learning my instrument. A
Hmm.
real musician never stops learning the notes and the theory and the modes and all the things that are involved in music, or bettering yourself at improvisation, or doing all the things that entail being a great musician.
Hmm.
Now, a DJ, he might spend his time being a better DJ and all that, but that's
Hmm.
not a musical instrument. and
Right.
they got that twisted, to me. That's twisted. That's not. But that to me also that was the record labels. They weren't for us, and they still aren't because they're not owned by us. So if it's not owned by you and run by you, then it's not really going to be for you all the time necessarily. And so they, got to the point where they, like I said, tried to eliminate the bands, and then they want to promote this DJ thing that and sampling, and a lot of the cats. Well, they learned though. A lot of the cats they would sample stuff, and then they were like, "Well, why do we have to pay them?" Well, you're using their song,
Exactly.
the song that these
Exactly.
people wrote. There's a composer. He's a composer, and so. But anyway, so I mean, AI is just another form of that to me. To whereas people are going and they're using this AI to make songs. Well, you might put together a decent song, but that doesn't make you a musician or a great composer because AI is AI. It's computer generated.
And I believe I'm not exactly sure how AI goes around doing the music, but I think it's curating or sampling, perhaps, in a sense, from everything someone like yourself already done. And I think but thinking about it though, isn't that what humans do? I mean, just asking, how do we create? Where do we get our ideas from?
A composer, I could turn around to this piano, and I've learned how to play piano. I spent time, I practiced, learned the notes, learned chords, so I can turn around. I'm composing out of my head, not from copying anybody. There's thousands and there's millions of songs. So it might influence you but there's only so much you could do. The art to it is to create your own, to close your eyes or whatever, however you compose, and to put together a song, compose a song that is beautiful and that to you and that you think other people will find joy in, listening joy. Right. So that's composing. Like I said, if I turn around and I hit my piano and I that's how I compose. I don't copy anybody. I don't sample anybody.
Right.
When I do songs and write music, but I don't sample. I mean, I might sample a word. Hey, something like that. Right. James Brown. Hey now. Exactly. But my whole song is something I wrote.
Understood. It comes from your soul. Because matter of fact, that's what I hear a lot of people say that AI lacks soul. It doesn't have that soul aspect.
They can't have soul. Soul is a human thing.
Right. Now check this out, Richie. See your website here, RichieLove.com. Now I see that you have a few wind instruments here. Matter of fact, one picture you have 3 of them. Would you mind telling us what those are, and what's the difference in those instruments?
The ones you're saying is the soprano, sax, alto, and tenor, and the baritone's not in there, but I play them all and I have them all, of course, and the flute. So the soprano is just like the voice, soprano, voice, alto, tenor. So those are just the instruments that are those ranges. The range of higher range is the soprano, and then the altos like the middle, tenors a little lower, baritone real low.
All right. Yeah. See, now me showing my ignorance as far as wind instruments, I was thinking perhaps one was a sax, a clarinet, or something like that. But there are different types of saxes.
Yes. Yeah.
I see. Now bounce around a little bit. Before we get too far away, I want to let everybody know where they can find your work, where they can find your music, where they can find you for perhaps booking.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Well, you can always go to richielove.com, and that will always you'll be able to find on the contact page, and that's all the information. Or you can contact me directly at saxworldprod at gmail.com. Saxworld, as in prod, as in production. Saxworld Prod.
That's what's up. And I'll be sure to place links in the description for you.
Thank you so much.
Now, you've been a busy guy. I've seen online. You've been up to quite a few things. You mind talking about some of the things that you've been up to and some things you got coming up in the future?
Well, I'm so proud and excited about. I just signed with um, major record distribution group with a record label, and I believe I signed. So the months have been rolling. So I think it was August. I signed with uh, Mr. DG, we call it.
Hmm.
Uh, and so since that time, I've really been working hard on the new CD, um, and the single. We released the single March 22nd.
Hmm.
And so I've been really working hard. We got the new single coming um, around September. And so that's where I'm at right now, is getting that finished.
You know the
I'm
name of the single? You have a
the
title?
the newest single is called Better Love.
Better Love.
And the single we released March 22nd is called Come Back.
Hmm.
And it is worldwide, so you can stream it, you name it, whatever streaming platform that you are affiliated with, it is there.
Hmm.
We are distributed through Sony Orchard, and so we're in 275 countries. So I'm just ecstatic about that being signed to the label and getting this next CD out. I'm really happy and proud about that. My single, uh, my CD that is out now, the latest single, uh, latest CD is called New Horizons, and that has been number one for like 4 years on Blast FM, Last FM um, radio and streaming platform. So I'm really proud, still very proud about that. So that's still rolling and going. So
Hmm.
that's a great thing.
Now you plan on
Great thing.
doing touring? Going on tour or
We're
anything?
planning on starting touring soon as I can finish this album. We're gonna uh, try to hit the road. I got some great talented people with me that I'm going to be featuring on the CD, and that are going to be traveling with us to do live shows. Um, Johnny Payton being one of them, who is also a co-producer on the album. We got Harold Keel, Jeannie Holiday. Oh, so many greats. So many greats.
Mhm.
Yes, sir. So
Now, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was just going to say that's part of what I'm doing right now. What's engulfing me in my time is getting the new single done, and the album, and so that's what's really going my focus right now.
Okay. And the style of music too is primarily jazz or just strictly jazz?
No, I do R&B, soul, smooth jazz. I do it all. I love all music. I do all music, and my albums, which we call a lot of us call grown folks music.
Uh-huh.
It's it's like uh it's like R&B because I have a lot of vocalists. I love uh of course I grew up and love R&B, real
Mhm.
soul music.
Mhm.
You know, um, from I grew up with that music. Also, my dad was performing with them. I watched my dad performing. He was with Motown in the 60s once we moved to Los Angeles. And Barry Gordy created a position for my dad. So I grew up around the Motown experience. And so that's the kind of music I do and like to put on my CDs because that's a part of me. That's who I am. Is I my roots are jazz, but I don't like to be stuck into one type of genre.
Mm-hmm.
I like them all. I love them all, so I do them all.
That's what's up.
That's where I want to. That's how I want to be, and I think that's how people are too. Some people are, just jazz,
Mm-hmm.
just R&B, But so we try to get all the just make everybody happy,
That's
you
what's
know.
up. Now, how did you
Yeah.
or why did you decide to pick up sax instead of perhaps some other instrument?
Well, I think really influenced by my father because he was a lead saxophonist, and seeing him and hearing him play, seeing him on the stage with Motown playing,
Wow.
it was just amazing. And so I know that just was an influence. Had to be it. You're 5 years old, you seeing your dad. Doctors tend to, some of their kids are going to be doctors,
Right.
you know,
Understood.
lawyers, same
Mhm.
thing, musicians.
Right.
Same
Now,
thing.
check this out. That opening question that we had, I think that's the cliffhanger for our listeners and viewers. Now, when did you discover that a saxophone was a sexy instrument? How did that occur? How did you find that out?
Well, uh,
Yeah. And what
I
is it
think
that makes it sexy?
the saxophone was created by Adolph Sax, and it was created to try to mimic as close as possible to the human voice. That's why he created it. And it is the instrument that is the closest thing to a human voice of any instrument. And so if you play correctly, and I teach my students this, play correctly, you can make the sax sound as close to the human voice as than any other instrument. And that's why when you ask me about the different instruments, soprano, alto, tenor, that's why the soprano is closest to the soprano voice. I mean, it's close to the alto, tenor on up. And so that's what's sexy about it to me because the human voice is sexy.
Right.
When
Exactly.
somebody sings, when somebody sings to you,
Mhm.
you just that's to me that's sexy. And so when you play saxophone, you can make it sexy. You
So,
can get in there and really get into it.
so Richie, you have a lot of groupies. They try to get you in trouble, try to get you a significant other, but you get a lot of groupies while you out there on the road.
Well, as a musician, we're also, I believe, uh, lovers of we're lovers.
There you go.
Oh, we love. That's it. My name is Love. We love.
Right. That's what's up. Thanks for answering that question. And check this out. One thing about jazz, I remember you said something about younger folks were turning to jazz. Now, for a long time, it took a minute, but it's true though. I wasn't really feeling jazz, especially the abstract, because I couldn't follow it. I couldn't understand it. It just
Yeah,
sounded like it was all over the place.
right.
But then, quite recently, I realized I had it all wrong. That jazz actually makes sense and stuff. Can you explain some why some people have a hard time with jazz? Maybe it'll open doors for them. Maybe they'll want to check out jazz now.
Well, you said it correctly there. It's hard. Some people don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of the things that, again, it goes back to labels and media. When they didn't push it, like when people are, it's like being educated.
Mm-hmm.
When people are educated on all different levels, then you understand a lot of things on different levels. If you have a mono, uh, when you're not turned on to jazz or different types of music at an early age, you only see one thing, then you only see that one thing. So then when something deep is introduced to you, you go, oh, I don't understand that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you
Mm-hmm.
have no concept of it.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't been introduced to you. And a lot of that comes from, like, of course, we all know the race thing. A lot of our uh, greatest achievements were suppressed, and
Yes.
so we we were not given the opportunity to experience stuff like jazz. They just threw the pop music and stuff like that at us, and it was hard for us, some of us, to get that. I remember when we moved back to Nebraska. Well, we didn't really have a black station. We had one black station, but they would go off. I forget what time. So it's mostly what you heard was
Right,
white
I
talk.
understand completely. Yeah. Matter of fact, it was the same here. Had station came on weekends, Friday nights around 12
Yeah,
a.m. or something,
yeah,
Sunday late
yeah,
night and stuff. Yeah, Doc Perriman and Pee Wee Harris. Those was the guys here in New York and
yeah,
Albany and stuff. And just
yeah.
now, we really getting down to it. It's customary with podcasts. I like to give the guests some parting words or something that you'd like to leave people with, words of wisdom, whatever. Something you like to say to people.
Well, I'd like to say one of the things I'd like to always say, and that is support live music and open your mind. I'm glad you mentioned that. Open your mind to other types of music. Seek out some of the other genres of music. Support black music, black musicians. Support music, live music, white and black. We need the support of people worldwide. And one thing that has been troubling me lately that I want to mention, I
Mhm.
said I was going to make sure I mentioned in my next interviews, and that is, if you go somewhere, there are a lot of stores now. I noticed department stores, grocery stores as well,
Mhm.
are not playing black music. They are eliminating our music. If you go to a store and you're spending money and you're African American, complain, call the corporate, write emails, tweet, whatever you need to Facebook, put it out there. If they don't play black musicians don't get paid. If they're not playing our songs, that it's a form of racism, and we need to address it, and we need people to stand up and start complaining. I just called. I'm not going to mention the corporation, but I just called. I was in the store shopping. I have a card there,
Mhm.
and I was in there several times shopping for over an hour. Never hear black music. So I called them. I've called about 5 or 6 corporations and say, I'm in there spending money. I'm not going to spend my money if you don't play, if you don't include us in the music. Why shouldn't we be included? You mean we got to go in and we can't hear any black music?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And so that means no black artists are getting paid. And that's a very terrible thing for black artists uh, to be eliminated like that.
I
Uh,
understand.
and so I've been urging everybody to please stand up. If you go in there and you're spending your money, you deserve to be included in everything, not just the music. You should be included in everything. Uh, we have to go back to, as black people, we've got to go back to being using our dollars to get the power That's what it takes. Like the
Right.
bus, like the bus boycotts and all that. You got to start. We got to start like our dollars make sense.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Richie,
Yes,
now,
sir.
once again, appreciate you taking the time to do this podcast. Let me say goodbye to everyone before we close out this show.
Thank
Once
you
again,
so much
everybody.
for having me.
Yeah. Once again, everybody, end of another podcast. They say parting is such sweet sorrow. I want to remind you guys, invite you to check out our previous YanBar podcast guests. And always remember that the YanBar podcast is a place where you make it happen. Once again, I'm Brian Barcelo here with Richie Love, the saxiest man alive. Richie, thank you so much for joining us, man. Peace.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you
All right.
so much.
Peace, everybody.